Hi friends and adventurers, Heather here from Heather's Hikes and Adventures, and we are heading out on one of those right now. I thought it would be, let me turn my air down, it's a little loud. I thought it would be kind of a fun video if we took off and I showed you what was on my pre-camp checklist on how I prep, pack, make sure I'm not forgetting anything, what I bring, all that kind of stuff to get ready for a road trip so that you can see how easy and simple it really is. I am going to flash back to past Heather here with that being said and kind of go through some of the main steps that I do to take Terra from a regular passenger van to my luxury minivamper on wheels that I get to take to all kinds of beautiful places, one of which we're heading to now to enjoy this gorgeous Florida fall weather. It is only 59 right now, and that is so exciting to me because the low tonight is going to be 41. So I'll kind of get to test out my new setup in colder weather to see if I'm able to sleep comfortably once it does drop down that low without my old setup that I had all rigged out for winter camping. So even though it won't be super cold, I think it'll be a nice test run for that. But in the meantime, we're going to flash back now to show you how I got ready for this trip. And then I'll meet you back here in the driver's seat once I'm at camp to go over my actual pre-camp checklist with you guys so that it's a little more clear-cut and step-by-step, since my clips might be a little all over the place. Who knows, me, you know. But I thought it would be kind of fun to actually show you how I get ready as opposed to just giving you my list, so why not do both? With that being said, let's check in with past Heather. I mentioned how essential groceries were as part of my trip prep. So I just kind of wanted to show you some of the things I needed to restock on and what I plan on using on the road in the next few weeks. And to be honest, I actually, when I'm here by myself and the kiddos are with their dad, I pretty much eat the same things here as well. I needed to re-up my everything bagel and garlic salt seasonings, and I needed to put a couple more soups back in there, so this is one of the ones I like. It's kind of like a variation of a chicken noodle, you know. It's a Greek egg lemon chicken flavor with orzo, and it has little chunks of chicken. It's really good. And then just the traditional Progresso Manhattan clam chowder. I am also going to pre-make a batch of this evening so that I can put it in containers and in the fridge and it will be ready to go. I was really hoping for their lentil one, but this one is really good too. So I'm going to do this, and then I'll probably add a can of chicken to it, which I do not have pictured here, but you can get any kind of cans of chicken. And that's enough for at least 2 to 3 servings, so I'll portion that out accordingly. I thought this was cool and it was on sale, so I'm going to give it a try. I normally get the Publix Greenwise, which is their store brand of the organic, but I really like the compactness of this and how you can just squeeze it out. I figured that would be a whole lot easier for van life. And since all my stuff is multi-purpose for here and when I'm on the road, I got that. This was on sale as well, so I'm going to use this for a couple of weeks, and my son likes it too, so we're going to use it here as well. It's just the pre-sliced, pre-cooked ham, so I'm going to use my Dash Mini griddle to heat that up for breakfast sandwiches, ham and cheese sandwiches instead of just plain old grilled cheese, you know, things like that. I can also dice it up and put it with like potatoes and stuff like that for breakfast. Provolone to go with my sandwiches and other things. These I love, and they are probably going to be turning up in a future video pretty soon. The pork roast, let me not throw it. The pork roast is a little bit less expensive, of course, than the Italian beef roast, but those are my two favorite, and they do go on sale pretty frequently. They do have store brand as well, but these I can easily get 3 servings out of, no problem, and still have it be very filling. I love to mix it with like mashed potatoes and then salad or another vegetable on the side, or I will pair it with like rice and beans. Speaking of rice and beans, I did re-up on those because I was running basically out. They were on sale, so I just got a few random flavors since they were like $1 a piece. I got some of these lentils that you've seen me use before, as well as the Cuban black beans. These are just heat and serve, so I love just putting like a half a portion in with a half a portion of like one of these instant rices, and then I'll put in like a third of a thing of this. I've got a very filling meal, and then I can just use the container that I was eating out of. I'm not sure, you know, if this is the most ideal option, but it's what I do when I'm camping. If I'm keeping it real, I'll just put the leftover beans and rice into the container that I ate out of. I have the other pork already in a container in the fridge, since I'm just scooping what I need into the one I'm heating. So that is separate by itself for whatever other uses. These little cup of noodles are great to have on hand for a super easy meal when you're lazy and just want to add hot water to something. You can even pick up hot water from a gas station if you don't want to heat it up, or if you don't have anything in your vehicle that can. I'm going to be making grown-up Lunchables this trip with some sliced cheese, different crackers. I tried to get almonds, but they were out of the kind I wanted, so we'll see if I have anything else to add to that. Because I'm celebrating Halloween, of course I had to get my favorite chocolate and sweet tarts for candy so that I can trick or treat with myself alone in the woods. I picked up a couple more of these because they were buy one get one free, and they're $1 something a piece normally. So, and then I just pulled one of these out of my storage, which I'll show you in a minute when I do the rest of my restock evaluation. But those are and I got my creamer because I was almost out, and pulled out some more Halloween themed movies to keep myself scared in the woods by myself while I'm camping. I have my phone out here because I had my checklist on it so I wouldn't forget anything. And I put my little pumpkin that you've seen before out here just to keep me in the spirit and motivated. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of my grocery haul. Like I said, I'll use some of this stuff at home base. I'll use most of it on the road. This is going to last me quite a while. I just wanted to restock on some stuff while it was buy one, get one free, since the rice is so versatile. Oh, these crackers are my favorite. These were on sale. Love these. They're great with cheese. And these are something that I just tried for my son and I. He is obsessed with Triscuits like I am. And they're so good. They're a little thinner, obviously by the name, than regular Triscuits. They're a little smaller, but really, I really like this flavor a lot. So I'm going to take these out of the packaging to conserve room and put those in my dry cooler bag. Figure out exactly what I need to bring with me for this trip and what I can leave for the next trip at home, or that I might be using here, and then start getting the fridge packed up. I started cooling it off. Hold on one moment and I'll show you. All right, so as you can see, I started cooling the fridge off only about 10 minutes ago, and we're already down to 37, and I set it for 36. Don't you like my sticker, by the way? I have that on my personal Facebook account as my motto. So anyway, oh, don't mind the cat hair that just blew in. Great, I guess I can vacuum again tonight. I have the fridge pre-cooled, so I'm going to start loading the stuff I'm going to need in there. And then I'll get the dry stuff loaded. And then I'll show you the next step. So the very first thing I do is make sure my trunk is in order. I always keep, which I should mention is the quickest thing because I literally leave it exactly like this 24/7. The only thing I pretty much do is check to make sure I have everything and then add the fridge right before it's time to go. Oh, and my car emergency kit, which I'm going to grab in a minute. I've got my extension cord, my tailgate tent that I might use one day, just a lot of knickknacks, extra toilet paper, paper towels, bear spray, the covers for my CLAM, doormat. My emergency food storage is underneath here. This is just where I keep my towels, extra bedding, you know, things like that, blankets. My main water supply rests here. I normally wedge my covers in right here, which keeps this up here on the shelf in place. And it also helps to insulate the fridge when it's in. I have my pop-up tent for if I need it at all. And then behind there, I always keep my camp rug and camp chair, so they're always ready to go. So again, easy peasy, takes me nothing to do except put the fridge in and my car emergency kit back here. Another thing I've mentioned on my channel here before is the EvaDry dehumidifier that you can recharge. As you can see here, it is definitely turning to the green, meaning it's time to recharge. To do that, all I have to do is pop that out, plug it in, and it does take a while, like 6 to 8 hours. But once it is all yellowy orange again, you are good to go. Alright, so I just wanted to show you my final product. I've put everything away that I'm not going to be using this trip. I've put everything in the fridge I can for now, and then I've packed this up. As you can see, this little bag, my camera battery charger's there for easy access up in the front. But as you can see, this little bag, and it does have pockets. I'll normally store spare disposable utensils and napkins there. And then in this front pouch, I'll put like condiments, napkins, silverware. There's my spoon and things like that. This right here is going to go in my pantry, in my 3-drawer storage pantry inside of the van. I just like to have one of these in there at all times. That way, if I don't want to dig around for anything, like if it's really rainy and I'm just hungry and want something quick, I can just grab the one that's in there. And I always, for the same reason, I always keep an instant rice, an instant beans, and an instant mashed potatoes in that drawer, and a cup of noodles. So I'm going to put those in my instant access drawer. And then, since I'm going to do, like I said, the adult Lunchables this trip, I do have the crackers, pepperoni, the cheese is in the fridge. I have some rice that I always keep in here, my candy, some sunblock so it doesn't melt. I just keep some spare stuff, some tuna, a lot of the stuff that I showed you out on the table. And then I have some brioche buns because I might make some ham and provolone sandwiches on my mini griddle. So there you have it. I am all nice and packed up, and the pepperoni does not need refrigerated until you open it. So I'm going to leave it there, and then once I open it, I'll toss it in the fridge, which is still, even though I started packing it in with stuff that wasn't that cold, we're still at 39 there. So we should be back to the desired temp of 36 soon. Now I have added my snack bag and water back in, but I keep my rain boots stuffed up there in case I need them. I have my pop-up window shade there, which I like because it blocks this little compartment, so if I want to stow anything in there, nobody even really knows it's there. I've added my Jackery 240 back in. I have my co-pilot ready to go. This, I've shown you before, I'll just swing it around if I want to cover everything. It's also great if the sun is shining there to protect whatever's in the seat as well. I've got my hat hanging on one of those hooks. Headlamp ready to go on my seat. Oh, let me show you these. I haven't really shown them in place yet. That's how I've set up the lighting's pretty bad right now. I'll show them to you again later when I'm at camp. But those were my little side organizers I showed you recently. I haven't decided exactly what I want to keep in them yet. I'm kind of sitting with them. So I have one on that side. And I have the other one on this side because I figured it would be easy to access from inside or outside if I need to grab something when I'm coming in or out. So I'll link those below too because I think they're super handy, and I truly forget that they're there. They're just so out of the way and unobtrusive. I also keep my umbrella, my windshield wiper spray. I've got a squeegee tucked under there with a couple extra towels. Extra solar chargeable or USB chargeable little lantern that expands and collapses like a little accordion, dehumidifier bag, my window treatments for this door. So yeah, this one's pretty much like this all the time. Like I said, obviously I clear this seat off for my daughter, but aside from that, the front is like this pretty much 24/7. All right, so one last quick look at Terra in passenger van mode, well, semi-passenger van mode. Now I'm just gonna drop these seats into the stow and go, put my flooring down, load the big stuff in, and then we'll start packing her up. So I will check back with you shortly. All right, you can see we're pretty much ready to go now, aside from a few last minute items. I have this poking out just because I wanted to show you how I stow it. When I bring my CLAM, I just tuck it up under the bed and just cover it while I'm going, just because I personally don't like looking at it, but you can't even tell it's there. As soon as I get to camp, pull it out, set it up. There you go. I'm gonna put these blankets in the back with my spare towels and sheets. I do keep the cushions on the bed when I travel, but aside from that, as you can see, everything is nicely stowed. This is actually stuck in there because of the rails, and I just have some socks and other things tucked in there. I've got my power station underneath. Toilet in place. All my coffee, tea kettle, Hot Logic, cooking supplies, pantry items, lighting, a couple of decor things are all in those drawers. I have packing cubes tucked underneath the bed. So I have one for pants, one for tops, one for socks and undergarments. And then I tuck some fluffy, fuzzy, warm camp socks kind of in between the two seats underneath. So all I've got to do now is put my fridge in, stick a couple of last minute items up front with me, like my phone and coffee, you know, important things like that. And we're ready to hit the road. Let's get out of here. All right, so last thing we're going to do before we roll out of here is just check the pressure in my tires, make sure that that's okay. And then present Heather will be rejoining you to top off the gas tank and go over the rest of my pack and prep list. So I'm gonna unscrew. Of course, I've not done this one-handed before. Put that there so I don't lose it. I'm gonna make sure it's set to PSI. Can you see that on here? Well, it says PSI right now. You want to push it until you don't hear the sound. And it is a colder morning than normal. Oh, come on, this is not working out. But it says 30.3 PSI, and we're supposed to be at 35. So I am going to put a few pounds in it before we hit the road. And then that should make up for the colder weather. Okay, we have all of the final touches packed. We've got our mosquito netting for the back hatch if we need it, although it'll be cold, so I'm hoping we don't. Car emergency kit, sink, fridge, all plugged in and cold. All of my blankets, sheets, an extra sweatshirt, all that kind of stuff. My main water supply, a pop-up tent just in case. Got my window shades tucked back here because they add a little extra insulation from the fridge. Sometimes I'll even put the top one over top if it's hot, but it's nice and cool. And as you can see, I don't have anything on any surfaces. Everything's stowed nicely away. So let's join present day Heather back up in the front seat and get going. All right, let's top off the gas tank first off before we get any further. And then, now that I have a camera to actually film on, we can pull up the directions on the phone for our camp and continue on that way. I apologize that a bird decided to poop right where my camera goes, but as you can see, the current gas price is $3.32 for regular, so that's what we're working with right now, and where we're getting ready to pull in here. I have always learned to put my debit card immediately back in my wallet now, which I keep near me at all times because I have the most horrible habit of losing it if I don't keep it in that exact spot on my person at all times. So you live and you learn. All right, let me go ahead and pull up our directions here. It's so nice being able to not have to switch back and forth. I'm hoping that we manage to miss the worst of traffic at each end. We'll see. Yeah, it's saying 4.5 hours instead of 5. That's promising. Not great, but promising.
Head east, then turn left.
Alrighty. Okay, see you at camp for our actual checklist. Unless I see anything earth-shattering on the way there.
5, 3. So you got
to camp, y'all. I have my wallet ready for check-in, which I'm assuming is going to be right up here. I'm going to head on over to my site, back my little tushy in. And before we get set up, we are going to wrap up this pre-camp pack list, and I am going to tell you exactly item by item what is in that list for me and what checklist you should have before heading on the road. So stick with me a little bit longer. We're almost there. Hi folks, Heather from the present, back and settled at camp and fed, if I'm being honest, because I was getting a little hangry. So I just wanted to go over I told you guys I had a real list, my pack pre-camp checklist with you guys now that we are at camp and made it here. Let's see if I forgot anything on my list. So at least 24 hours ahead of time, I try to charge everything. Obviously my phones, but like my watch, my Garmin InReach, my fans, my lantern if it's getting low, anything like that that needs charged. So that way I don't have to worry about anything being dead on the road. And every so often, maybe like every 3 months or so, I will check my car jumper to make sure that that's still charged up. And if not, I'll top that up too. Camera batteries, obviously my power stations, I like to have those at 100 before I leave. My hotspot, so basically I'll try to do all that the night before. I'll pre-chill my fridge, anything like that that I can just get out of the way. I also try to have Terra completely loaded up and ready aside from the fridge the night before, but full disclosure, I was so darn tired from my work week last night that I literally got home. Well, when I say home, I was working at home. Got into my room, started to pull out my list to see what I still needed to do, and just crashed. I woke up at like 3 a.m. with some of the lights still on, some of the laundry in the dryer, the dishwasher still needing unloaded. So needless to say, I got a late start this morning trying to finish the rest of this, plus my other chores before I could head out. But back to the list. So as I mentioned, the power stations, I make sure those are topped off and obviously loaded in. I also make sure I have the chargers with me. I've showed you before how I charge my large Jackery 1000 anytime that the vehicle is running, driving on the road. It's automatically charging since it does run my fridge 24/7. So that helps me not really need to charge it much on the road because I do typically drive a lot on my adventures. I make sure that all of my water is filled and loaded. My main 3-gallon supply, my 2 3-liter bottles, my 1-liter bottle, and my water bottle that I drink from. So those are always topped off. Then once I have my big items loaded, my bed ready, although as you saw in this video, my bed was already ready. You get it. I check my 3-drawer storage, make sure that that's fully stocked, that I'm not missing my coffee supplies, any of the food or cooking items I'll need, a towel, napkins, seasonings, my lighting, all that stuff. I just kind of do a quick check, make sure that everything's in there. Right now that includes making sure I have all my decor, my fans. That pretty much covers it. My dehumidifier, I keep hanging on that as well. I make sure I have my hiking boots tucked into the bottom of it. I make sure I have my toilet loaded with the compostable bags ready, with the cedar shavings ready in case I need it. I very rarely use it as a toilet. Normally it's a seat or surface space, as I've said before. But I make sure that that's loaded and that I have everything I need in case I need it as one. Make sure I've got my computer, my camera stuff, any electronics, any of the chargers and batteries needed for those. That's obviously going to differ for everyone. Once the fridge is pre-chilled, I make sure that that's loaded with everything I plan on bringing. I make sure my clothes are loaded. I keep my packing cubes right under here. This is the larger side since it's the 2/3 split. So I keep my tops, bottoms, undergarments and socks, and my shower bag. Tucked between the two seats, there's a little crevice. I keep my like fluffy socks, slippery type things. My shower bag lives under this side, along with that little duffel shower bag that I can throw it with clothes in if I need to. I move my 1 liter once I get to camp because that's normally what I pour to make my coffee and transfer to my water bottle and sometimes drink from, but normally I use it as a transfer bottle. Now that it's getting colder, I will add my cold weather checklist items back on, like my hot hands, my extra blankets, my hot water bottle, sleeping bag, things like that. To be honest, I didn't bring them this trip, even though it's going to get down to like 40 tonight. It's still like 70 in here. It's super comfortable. I don't think it's going to get cold until very, very, very early in the morning. So maybe if I have a middle of the night pee break, I might need to bundle up with my sweatpants and sweatshirt and hop under the blankets as soon as I get back. But aside from that, I think I'll be fine. I always top off my gas tank, unless I'm going to be very local, and no, I don't need any. Otherwise, I will start with a full tank, since I never know if it's going to be more expensive or less expensive if I look it up and it's not clear. Alright, let's see. I take it to the car wash depending. Terra really could have used a shower, but where I topped her off with gas did not have the car wash, so I did skip that step this time. But normally I'll try to give her a little batharoo after I top her off with gas. I do check the tire pressure, which as you saw past Heather do, and realized that it was too low, most likely from the cold or unexpected weather. That does make the tires contract. But I did show you briefly how I check those, top it off, so I will check again, obviously, before I leave or go anywhere to make sure there's no issue, but they were all the same. They were all just low, so I'm sure it's the weather. I know I mentioned my hiking shoes because those are so important to me, and fun fact, when I went to the Smokies for my first out-of-state solo trip, I left my hiking shoes at home. I had to deal with my no-tread Adidas runners, which, while I love them and they're comfortable and cute, they suck on leaves and wet, slick, mucky trails. Do not recommend. So I always double and triple check that I have my hiking shoes with me. Also my camp sandals, shower shoes. I make sure I have any park passes I'll need. I always keep my national park pass and state park pass on me because I never know where I may end up stopping. If it's a national wildlife refuge or run by the National Park Service, I can use my pass to get in free, even at a lot of national forest sites. If I want to stop at a nearby state park I wasn't aware of, I've got my Florida State Park pass already. So even though I paid for my campsite, which includes admission, this way if I decide to stop at any on the way back or nearby, I'm covered. I can tell it's getting a little chillier now that the sun's going down. I'm loving this. I did give my safety plan to my loved ones. I know I mentioned that I texted my mom to let her know that I was all safely checked in. My mom and my dad always have my itinerary and know exactly where I'll be, what I'm planning on doing, what park I'm staying at, or where I'll be camping. I let them know when I get there, when they can expect to hear from me, when I should be back at home base. So I definitely recommend doing that with a trusted individual or individuals yourself. And then lastly, I get any last minute groceries, cat food, litter, and make sure that the cats are set with extra food, plenty of water, and that I have all the groceries I'll need for the trip. And when I get back, if I'm going to be coming straight back and getting the kiddos and, needing to make sure that I have stuff in the house for them. So, there you have it, folks. That covers my personal pre-camp checklist. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you found it useful. I hope you were able to pull at least a few items from it for your checklist. And if you think I forgot anything important, feel free to drop it in the comments below. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know about those below. I will try to link anything I can think of that might be useful that we talked about or that you saw when it comes to me getting everything prepared. And I am also going to show you how, when I get to camp, which I am at, can you see this cute little path that goes to the river? I can't wait to show you. But anyways, that'll be a future video. The next video, I'm going to show you how I actually set up once I get to camp, and I'll do a demo of kind of how that process goes for me. So, hope to see you then. Thanks again for watching, and bye!